So, welcome to the show. This is The Path Forward with Cassandra Williamson. I am coming to you from Eastern Kentucky, a holler way up in the hills in Pike County near West Virginia and close to Virginia, too. So, we have quite a few things we should talk about today, but the one thing I do want to talk about is just the absolute cruelty of the DeSantis administration down in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis. Now, if you read my email, that I sent out earlier this evening, about 4:30 Eastern or so, somewhere around there, you know what I'm talking about. One night, late at night, when it was dark and nobody was around to see everything, DeSantis sent the Florida Department of Transportation down to paint over a pride crosswalk that goes across in front of or near the Pulse nightclub memorial, where 49 people were killed because of hatred. Somebody hated what was going on there. So that is the height of stupidity and complete blindness and cruelty toward a population of people simply because you don't like them. That does not give you the right to go down here and take away the things that give them a little bit of comfort from what had happened at that location. And if you watch the little clip I put together, it's only about 18 seconds long, but here it is again. So I did that. I produced these little video clips and the images from my trip down there to the Pulse nightclub in February of 2022. I think it was sometime later in the month, but I went there. And my God, just walking around that place, it's just like, it's just horrible, horrible, horrible. You have this sense of just like, you don't know what to do with it. You don't know where to put that kind of feeling, that sense that you have of what happened there, where 49 people died. You really don't know. I mean, it's just, oh my God, it's horrible. It really is. And to have DeSantis issue an order to his Department of Transportation, and then they further issued directives to all the cities in the state to cover over all of the LGBT crosswalks, the colorful crosswalks throughout the state. Some states did, or some cities did. They actually went in and did it. Others are resisting. In Orlando, where the Pulse Club is located, well, Florida DOT went in and just painted over it late at night, in a cowardly act. They didn't want anybody to see what they were doing, but they went in and just painted over it, or who they were, really, I guess, and painted black and white over this beautiful mural on the ground at the crosswalk. There was a pride crosswalk in front of a place where 49 LGBT Americans lost their lives. The only reason to do something like that is just pure cruelty. Pure cruelty. But to be fair, DeSantis no doubt had been wanting to do stuff like that, but the federal Department of Transportation sent the directive out to all the states to tell them to do the same thing, to go out and actually remove all of the LGBT crosswalks, paint over them. I don't know. I think they're offended or just hurt by it or something. I don't know what it is. Why on earth are these people so weak-kneed and so weak morally and ethically that they are offended by this? Why? I don't understand that. I mean, what's the problem with allowing people to acknowledge that there are people who are different than you? What's the problem with that? And some people are going to say, well, you're shoving it down our throat and all that kind of stuff. No, we're not. We're acknowledging that there have been lots of harm caused in this community from the 50s on. Well, 40s on, really, but 50s in a big way, the 1950s. I mean, it's been going on for a long time. How else are we to react to this stuff? How else are we to react to it? How else are we to respond to it and try to push back against it? You want us just to go crawl under the floorboard or under the boards in the back of the closet and get underneath there and hide who we are? No, 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 no. That is not human at all. that is not what decent human beings do at all. And Governor DeSantis down there covering up the one in front of the Pulse Memorial where 49 people lost their lives. That just is just astounding to me. And then the community first put it down. They redid it with some chalk on the road, but it rained and it washed that away as it naturally would. So the community came out and painted it on there the next time, painted it. But then Florida DOT went in again a second time and painted over it again, black and white. But this time, though, they let some state troopers and other people in the Department of Transportation around there to see who was going to do what and to try to discourage people from doing that. The next thing you'll see that they want to do is bulldoze the entire memorial to the LGBT people who lost their lives there. That's the next thing that you're going to get out of this administration and out of the DeSantis administration, because I think DeSantis is gay and he doesn't like it. And he's so offended by it that he has to overcompensate for things. So he goes over and overcompensates for it and says, no, we're not. But basically what he's doing is he's holding a mirror up and he's afraid of it, afraid of what he sees. We already know he uses gender affirming care, right? You know how I know that? You know how I know that Ron DeSantis uses gender affirming things in his life when he's out talking? You know how I know that? He uses elevator shoes so that he comes across as a little bit taller and more masculine appearing. A lot of men do that. They compensate in one way or the other to try to come across as being something they aren't. And they're trying to make their image more masculine. They do. I know. Been there, done that. I know exactly what that's all about. Okay. But I think that's what's going on with Ron DeSantis. He has got such a burr up his butt over that crosswalk there in Orlando at the Pulse Club that it just gets under his skin. And I'm going to tell you, they've already painted over it twice now. They did it the second time. The people in the community came in and said, no, we're not going to let you do this. We're going to paint it again and do it again. Well, if I were down in Florida, I'd be one down there with a paint bucket, because that's just stupid and cruel of anyone doing that at a memorial where 49 people lost their lives. And it's just as cruel to do it someplace where there is no such thing as that memorial at the Pulse Club. Other cities, Gainesville and different ones, have actually gone through and erased theirs on their own after they received a directive from the governor. Those cities should have stood up and said, no, we aren't. We have people in this community who are in that community. Those sidewalks are not a danger. Those crosswalks are not a danger. As a matter of fact, people slow down more around those. And yes, the numbers actually back that up. So Ron DeSantis, I hope you get that open letter. And if I had it within my power to do so, I would annul the fact that you have the rank of a commander in the Navy. It baffles my mind. It really just the cruelty. And I can't understand why. But I do know a little bit about, your theologies. Yeah. I know about the theology that will drop people off of a building because of who they are and who they love and how they identify. I don't know all about it, but I know about that because we can import it here just as easily, right? Oh, wait a minute. I was talking about the Muslims. Let's see. Christians can do that too. They've done that kind of thing. Let me give you a personal story. When I first came out and started acknowledging who I am, it wasn't long thereafter that someone that I was communicating with online, someone sent me a message and said that if I can find you down there in Alabama, if I can find you in Alabama, then and the situation changes, I would be the one to come down there and cut your head off and drag your body through the streets. A threat directly to me because of who I am from some idiot out in the Midwest. I'm not going to say which state. I know exactly where he was. I actually had the police department, the FBI, go check it out. That is a true story from early on. So I'm familiar with some of this stuff, okay? And yeah, I've got a lot of privilege. Yeah, and I don't mean the privilege in the kind that, got a lot of money. No, that's not what privilege means in this context. That means that doors open for me in different ways than they would for somebody else because of the things that I've accomplished in my life. Those doors open. That's what that is. I know that's the case. A lot of things happen like that for everyone. So, Ron DeSantis, I hope someone passes on that letter, open letter to you. I just sent it out to everyone. If you didn't get it, you need to go over to the website and sign up, because you need to be receiving these things from me. Okay. That's my email address. So you can send an email right there, or you can go up here to the website and go there and actually sign up for one of three options if you want to receive the newsletter. I think it's about 7,000 people so far are actually receiving the email from me now. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that people are out there doing those things, and a lot of people are opening these things up too. I mean, they're the one I sent out at 4:30. Let me see if I can pull up the stats on it right now. Hold on a second. Let's see what the stats are on this thing. This email, the one that I had, is an open letter to Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis. Okay. Let me see what the stats are on this thing. You interested? I am. I haven't looked at it in a little bit. I did early on, but hey, whatever. Things change. Open letter. There we go. View all the campaigns. Let me go back over to here and increase the size of that. An open letter. 3,000 people have opened it so far. Let's go get the stats on this thing. View the stats. 3,016 opened it. 2,356 clicked on something within that email I sent out. If you're not doing it, if you're not going through and getting these and opening them up and reading them, you're missing out, folks. You're missing out. I talk a lot about things all the time. Different topics. But my biggest topic right now today is the fact that Ron DeSantis ordered his Department of Transportation to paint black and white paint over the LGBT crosswalk at the Pulse nightclub memorial. I've been there. It is sobering. It is a sobering place. For 49 people lost their lives because of stupidity. Let me go back over to my other program here. All right, I got to drag it all back where I can actually see what we're doing. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This is just a short little video clip compiled from some images and videos that I took while I was down there. And so, there you have it. All those pictures of people who were killed there. There's a lot going on there. Now, the image that I had, let me get back up just a second to right here. That crosswalk is coming across from that sign in this direction. I think that's the one. That's the street corner. But this is the Pulse Memorial. And it was just wrapped in all of these images and things. And that was horrendous to see people who had lost their lives, images and pictures of people who lost their lives simply because they were there as LGBT people at a club, enjoying their night, enjoying their evening, and they get killed because of some idiot, inflamed by other idiots. That is the Pulse nightclub that you're looking at right now in 2022. It's changed a little bit since then, obviously. The crosswalk was put in, and then there was a beautiful crosswalk acknowledging the LGBT people and giving those who come to visit that memorial a sense of, here we are, we're acknowledging who we are, we're letting people acknowledge that and get some peace from this. And then the DeSantis and his cruelty goes in there and paints over it. But then the people came back and painted and filled it in with some chalk and replaced it. Rain came, washed it out. They went back in and put in some paint into it and actually redid the pride flag that was at that crosswalk. Now, DeSantis is saying it creates a public hazard there, that people can get hurt if they're just distracted. It's distracted and all that kind of stuff. The numbers do not support his accusation because it is not true. What he's doing there is cruelty on steroids. What the Trump administration is doing is cruelty on steroids. They're focused, laser focused on going after trans people. And what do? Just want to live openly and be left alone. Come on. What's so freaking wrong with that? I know. It may seem as if I'm shoving this stuff down people's throats. And I was told that one time from a classmate of mine at the Naval Academy back when I went there for the 35th reunion back in 2018, October 2018. One of my classmates said, "We just don't want you shoving it down our throat anymore." And I looked at Jack and said, "We aren't, Jack. But why do you say that?" Because it's everywhere. No, it's not everywhere. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's how people think though, you know. So with this thing with Ron DeSantis and what Trump is doing and what the Department of Transportation person is doing, Secretary of Department of Transportation is doing, is cruelty. That's the only reason for doing it. They're saying it's a safety issue. No, it is not. There's not a single problem with those crosswalks. And there are crosswalks with all kinds of designs and colors in them everywhere in the country. Not just Pride. Let me see. There's some out in the Midwest that have Indian, Native American people design them and put them into the roads and the crosswalks and stuff. Do they have a problem with that? No, they don't. Do they have a problem with, let's say, a monument sitting right in the middle of an intersection? You would think that that would be a hazard. More dangerous than a painted crosswalk. But no, not going to touch that. They're not going to touch anything except for the LGBT crosswalks. I'm going to tell you, our nation has fallen into a vast, deep crevasse. How do we get out of it? Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know. Right now, they are destroying LGBT people in this country and trying to erase them from public life. We didn't start this. We did not start this. In the 1950s, McCarthy and others went after LGBT people in the federal government. Yeah, they were working there, gays and lesbians, bisexual people. They were working in the federal government in the 1950s in the State Department. But then somebody said, "Oh, they're a security risk." In the 1950s. Have you heard that lately? Oh, yeah. Pete Hegseth says it about trans people. It's a security risk. Bullshit, Pete. You're dumb as a bucket of rocks. The Lavender Scare in the 50s kicked out 20,000 federal employees who were gay and lesbian. In the 1950s, the one man who was able to solve the Enigma code that the Germans were using, Alan Turing, the grandfather of the computers that we have today, great-grandfather of the computer systems and computers that we use today, the information technology. He solved that problem, helped us win the war in World War II, but he was gay They discovered it in the 50s. They sent him to institutions and did electroshock therapy on that man, thinking that it would erase his gayness. It did not. It would not, and it never would have. Not ever. They destroyed the man. Destroyed him because they didn't want gay people around. The Lavender Scare occurred. It kicked out all of those people out of the federal government in the 50s. Oh, does that sound familiar? Oh, yeah, we're repeating history. It's rhyming history, more like it. But we haven't learned a thing from our own history, from the history of this world. We haven't learned a thing from it. I try to tell people that there are corollaries. There are similarities between certain things that's happened in the past in the world and what's going on today in the world. And history kind of shows this. The cycles, the actual methodology that was used then being used today to desensitize people to what's going on in the federal government within our own nation, the nation that I served for. Yeah, I'm irate about it. I don't get it. It's baffling to me that we have people who will accept the fact that we are drifting slowly toward more and more authoritarianism in this country. But let me just clearly say this really clearly for you, okay? President Trump does come from the business world. He has been the boss of bosses. He knows how to fire people, right? The apprentice and all that kind of stuff. He has been an authoritarian boss all of his life. And we're getting exactly that at the federal level. He's a transactional authoritarian type boss. That's who he is. Born that way. Handed to him on a silver platter by his dad, okay? He comes by it naturally. That's who he is. But he's bringing it into the world right now in America and doing the things that he knows. Follow a certain book that was by his bedside for years. If you don't know what book I'm talking about, well, it was Mein Kampf. He's denied that story, but his ex-wife said no. He did have it. But anyway, oh my God. So what do we do about all of this? Well, down in Florida, let's go back to Florida, okay? We keep putting that sidewalk back. The mural on that sidewalk, we keep putting it back. Keep putting it back. They'll paint over it. We'll keep putting it back. More and more people need to show up right there and put that thing back and stand there, making sure that no one tries to stop them from putting it there. I already know that there are state troopers and other DOT people there, or they were, trying to keep the other people, keep the LGBT people from going in there and doing that. But I'm going to tell you, this is a memorial to lost lives. And your cruelty says, no, we're not going to acknowledge any of that. And I would not be surprised in the least that if some order doesn't come from the federal Department of Transportation, at the very least from the state Department of Transportation, that says, oh, we got to move that memorial off that corner right there. It's too close to the road and people are being distracted by it. You're looking at it right there on your screen right now. That's my visit to the Pulse nightclub memorial in February of 2022, and it is the most sobering place I have ever been, except for one other place. There's only one other place that comes even close. Actually, it goes way beyond this, okay? This one that I actually went there and seen and was there at the memorials and saw what was going on there and saw how many lives were lost. That was in Uvalde, Texas. I've been there to that too. I've got the pictures and video clips from there, and that was much, much more sobering than this with the Pulse Club. I wonder if they'll let a crosswalk be painted down there to memorialize those kids lost and the teachers who lost their lives. I bet they would. But how dare they put up one that recognizes the lives lost here in Orlando, Florida at the Pulse